Hello, I'm Solomon Cook.
Hello, I'm Olivia Cook.
Hi, I'm Kevin McCoy.
Imagine having a $1 billion industry where you don't have to pay your employees. This is the business model of the National Collegiate Athletic Association, or NCAA. I'm Victor Williams, and today I'm going to talk about why I believe college athletes should be compensated with more than free tuition. I will mainly focus on athletes playing basketball and football. First, why not paying athletes is an issue. Second, I'll touch on how to properly compensate each athlete. Lastly, how players will continue to suffer if the system isn't reformed. Billions of dollars are made off of college student athletes every year from their respective schools. These young men and women receive none of that money. For basketball and football athletes, college play is mandatory before joining a professional league. Many are ready for the pros as soon as they graduate high school, but are forced to play at the collegiate level before taking the next step. During this time, schools are making millions off of players with ticket sales, jersey sales, as well as concessions during the games. The issue here is that players are not being compensated while also risking injury, which could cause them to lose out on being drafted or having the ability to play at all. Next slide. One of the most recent instances of an all-star player being put at risk was with the 1 in a million talent Zion Williamson of Duke University. According to the New York Times, on February 20th, less than a minute into a nationally televised game against arch rival North Carolina, Williamson injured his right knee when one of his Nike sneakers literally exploded. Here's a picture of said shoe. This freak incident had many questioning whether he should even risk continuing to play at the collegiate level. Williamson, who stood at 6'7", 285 pounds, easily defeats the argument that many young men aren't physically ready for pro sports coming out of high school. Yet he was still required by law to attend college for a year to be eligible for the NBA. Next slide. Critics argue that a free education is enough compensation for playing a sport. Never mind the money the NCAA and even the universities themselves are making. According to Fortune.com, the NCAA earned over $1 billion in 2017, eclipsing the $1 billion mark for the first time as its governing body defended its business model in court. Of its $1 billion profit, over $800 million came from its television and marketing deal with CBS. This deal gave CBS exclusive broadcasting rights to the men's basketball tournament. Next slide. With all the money being made by conferences, coaches, and the NCAA itself, college players are bound to want a portion of the money being made off their backs. Solution. I propose that everyone on the team be paid a small but fair base salary and to pay bonuses out for reaching certain milestones during the season. This will encourage competition and allow elite players to easily reap the benefits of their hard work and talent. I propose that the salary be regulated by the NCAA, as well as limits to how much a player can make. A student athlete should be able to rent a car, rent an apartment, pay for family and friends to come visit or see games. This is what the minimum salary would allow. The purpose of this is not to make a student athlete rich. Next slide. Any plan for reform will be met with opposition from those that run the NCAA, the different conferences, and even the fans themselves. What if nothing changes? If nothing changes at all, the people at the top of the NCAA's food chain will continue to line their pockets, while thousands of kids will continue to lay their bodies on the line in order to compete. The majority of college athletes do not go pro. This means that many of them leave school with lifelong injuries and nothing to show for it. At this moment, student athletes are required to carry health insurance, but the schools themselves aren't obligated to provide the insurance. Schools that do offer medical coverage for athletes are not obligated to do so after the student has graduated or left the school. This has left athletes with bills that persist long after their time in school. Not only are athletes not being compensated, some are leaving school with more debt due to medical bills. The downward flow of money stops at the coaches of the athlete. Next slide. According to Charlotte Gibson of ESPN.com, in 2017, 39 of the 50 states' payrolls were topped by football or basketball coaches. With all this money pouring in, why can't an athlete be entitled to any of it? Today, I touched on how bad student athletes are exploited for monetary gains, what I believe can be done to change the system and the reasons why. Lastly, I touched on how much many of these athletes are putting at risk just for the chance to go pro, and how universities are monetizing this requirement to play. College athletics will continue to be a honeypot for those allowed to profit from the free labor of the student athletes. Thank you.